talking about the class conflict, we see the capitalists as one class of people and the workers and another class of people. So capitalists seek to exploit the workers or the laborers as much as possible. And their idea is to uh, bring down the, let's say, cost of the labor to the minimum or to zero. So the capitalists have the tendency uh, to the accumulation of more and more, let's say, money or more and more capital. And because of that, they have more power for the exploitation of the proletariat. And if they become richer and richer and trying to bring the cost to zero, we can expect some kind of polarization between the two classes. The one moving in one direction, the other moving in other direction. One becoming richer and richer, the other becoming poorer and poorer. So one is being exploited by the other. So this kind of thing can lead to some kind of conflict, but the conflict does not emerge on its own. So although we can call them as classes, but for the class, probably some kind of consciousness is necessary amongst the people who could be grouped as one class. So a group of people in similar situations with respect to their control of the means of production. So if we have that kind of thing, then there is a potential for conflict. Whether conflict emerges or not, but it has the potency, it has the potential, it has the germs, it has the seeds to move that in that direction. For Marx, class was always defined in terms of its potential to conflict. If it doesn't have a potential, perhaps it may not be considered as a class. So capitalism has inherent conflict of interest between the haves and the have-nots, between those who are the capitalists and those who are the, let's say, laborers. So the important thing is the awareness of the conflicting kind of relationships. If they are not aware, if they are not conscious that they are being exploited, they will not be in conflict. Of course, this conflict is more like emergence of that kind of feeling from that class which is being exploited. Now, the class which is, let's say, the capitalist class, they are happy. They are happy with the profit, with the accumulation of capital. So they don't have to bother about anything. So what is bothering is, what is, let's say, troublesome is for the lower class, for the working class, for the workers in this context of capitalism, for the proletariats. So in that sense, in capitalist society, as Marx has said, only two classes: the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. So conflict between the two, an example of a real material contradiction. So capitalist society may not be considered as a happy society in the sense where one feels exploited and the other is exploiting. So one is becoming poorer and the other becoming richer. That's a contradiction of the society. So that can lead to some kind of conflict. And this is because of the polarization of the two great opposing classes unless there is change in the capitalist structure. So we see also Marx is talking about the increase in proletarianization. So, and this increasing proletarianization is again part of the capitalist system. So because of the competition with mega stores and franchise chains will shut down many small independent businesses. And when they shut down small independent businesses, they are also become part of the proletariat class. So mechanization will replace skills artisans, and when they are replaced by the machinery, again they become part of the labor class. So merger of the smaller with the monopolies again leads to increase in that very class which is called proletariat class. So this is how we see the increase in the proletarianization. So we displace people who will be forced down into the ranks of the proletariat. So Marx called this inevitable increase in the proletariat, and the whole thing he called as proletarianization, the process of the increase in the labor class, in the proletariat class. So then he talks about the conflict. So increased centralization of factory work, increased sharing of sufferings, increased international linking of factories and market, increased awareness of common interest. So that proletarianization is not only in one place, but wherever there is a capitalist system, all across the continents, all across the countries, we see that that thing happens. And if there is awareness amongst all of them, then some kind of class conflict emerges. So increased possibility of an organized resistance to capitalism. So that's where probably he could say the workers of the world to, let's say, stand up. If they become conscious, then they can go for a revolution. So what the bourgeois, according to him, what bourgeoisie therefore produce is above all its own grave diggers. So they are creating such circumstances where the proletariat class is going to, let's say, bring revolution, and that will be the destruction of the capitalist system.